to, and just the experience of being there and having the opportunity to play it again.
When you look at the personnel on these teams, of course, it's easy to be sitting there on your sofa watching television and intermittently screaming at the television, but you've been there. You've been right there on the field. You know what it feels like to be hit, and you know what it feels like to give a real good hit. But there's a lot of people who said that Jalen has not looked so sharp the last couple of times. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's an unfair criticism because I believe, he's a sophomore, a true sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2 years, he's taken his team as a quarterback. And as a quarterback, you are the leader. And I think he's done all he can do. He's taken them to the national championship game in both of his starting seasons as a freshman and a sophomore. And I look back at the game last year. He took Alabama down and did what he had to do. They scored just before the game was over. But Clemson, at the very end, came back and won to beat Alabama. But I'm very impressed with him. I don't know how people can criticize anyone who's done the kind of job he's done and performed as excellently and provided the leadership that he's done. He's been terrific.
Have you seen many quarterbacks in college or the pro level that seem to be as cool as he is? He just seems like he's got ice water in his veins.
He really does, and I think that's a tribute to his. I believe his father was a coach, a high school coach, and I'm sure he's grown up understanding football and stresses and the anxieties and pressures of the game. But also, I think you point to the current coaching staff at Alabama and how they handle him. But he's got incredible composure and poise, especially to be just a sophomore. And looking back at his freshman year, it's just amazing. I think that the guy not only physically has great talent, but he has the other intangible items that make him such a good leader and a great quarterback that, you can't really coach those. You have to have that, and he does.
Well, he really does seem like he's just kind of a one in a million kind of player, and it's really outstanding to watch him. But it's also really outstanding to watch the defense that played against that strong Clemson team. They didn't. I mean, a lot of people say, well, maybe Clemson wasn't as good, but I heard something over and over, and it sounded almost like when you're watching Fox News or CNN, you'll hear these Republicans or Democrats, they get on, and they've all got the same talking points. But did you notice when they interviewed those players after the game, and what was the great defensive player that made the tremendous interception, and then he caught the pass?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but he was
306.
Yeah, he was so fantastic. He kind of reminded me of old Refrigerator, that used to play so many years ago. But they all said about the same thing. When they were interviewed, it just seemed like they were reading talking points, and they were saying, "Well, we want to play Alabama football. We just want to make the plays that we've studied." And so what you heard over and over is they've obviously bought in to what Saban is selling. And
right.
if we've got a moment, could you just how does a coach like that? How does he? Because you've got so many different personalities on that team. It's not like everybody's the same. They're not all robots.
That's right.
How does he get them to buy into what he's selling?
Well, I think, he establishes his relationship with each player individually when he's recruiting these guys. And when he's recruiting players, they can look at his record and see that since 2009, he's been in this game. He's been playing for a national championship 6 years, since 2009. And I think from there it carries over to when they get to campus and they get into his program. His coaches believe in what he's saying. He sets the tone. He sends it to,
he sends it down the food chain, doesn't he?
He does.
And he's got the ultimate credibility. Hey, Ben, we're running out of time today. The next time I have you on here, I kind of want to talk to you about when Paul Bear Bryant recruited you in that what year was he actually recruiting you, 82 or 83? 82?
That was in 82.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that because you decided to play for Auburn, And that, I believe, played a part in the fact that he retired that year. So we want to talk to you. Ben Tamburello, what a pleasure it is to have you as my very first guest on Talking Back with Jacky Jack.
Jacky Jack always.
God bless you, boy.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
York Drug has a new phone number, and they are there when you need them. Put the number in your phone now. Ready? The new number is 205-725-8118. You never know when you're going to have a question about a prescription or over-the-counter medication, or if your order's ready. Eddie and the staff are ready to answer your questions. Put the new number in your phone or write it down for York Drug when you need it. The new number is 205-725-8118. That's 205-725-8118. York Drug also has new store hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And a new phone number, 205-725-8118. 205-725-8118. Always one call away. York Drug.
End-of-life care for a loved one is a decision that many families will make. Legacy Hospice in West Alabama and East Mississippi provides appropriate care and is sensitive to the needs of a loved one and their families. Legacy Hospice provides home care for terminally ill patients and support services for pain and symptom control for terminally ill people and their families, including medical care by patients attending physicians, nursing services, volunteers, social work, and pastoral care. Reimbursements may be available through Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. To learn more or to be a community hospice volunteer, visit legacyhospice.net. That's legacyhospice.net or call 800-580-8479. Legacy Hospice, a family of companies creating a legacy in end-of-life care.
Welcome to What Is Wrong With You People. I'm your host, the Fairy Godmother, and with me today is the Leprechaun.
Hello!
And our good friend, the Gift Horse. Okay, we're pretty much used to people not believing in us.
Makes no sense. All folks gotta do is follow me to a pot of gold. A pot of gold!
And you've seen what I can do with a pumpkin and a wand.
Amen, brother. Right in the mouth.
But why on earth are people putting off going to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com to find a great job?
Gotta believe in those
The
guys.
jobs are local. It's easy to use.
He nailed it. Completely free.
And still, there are job seekers who haven't logged on to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com.
What is wrong with you people? I mean, fine. You don't want to trust the little green man.
Fairy godmothers may be a little out of favor today. If wishes were horses.
Good one.
But seriously, no excuses. Go today. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
You're listening to Southern Pride with Jacky Jack White.
All right, man. Last night we had the first Sucker Night review we've had in a long time. Boys, y'all can talk to me. It's called the brand new Sucker Night Review variety show. And we had a wonderful crowd, a big, big crowd. And it wound up being a real, real good show. And one of the, that's the first Friday of every month, by the way, in Meridian, Mississippi at the Temple Theater. And we had Tyler Carroll, you heard him earlier, and his group, the Pine Ridge Bluegrass Boys. And then we had the Sukanachi Stagehand.
Yes, sir.
Now, Tyler, I know that made you really jealous, but did you hear and see that reaction when they came out there?
Them boys are good.
Huh?
I've always enjoyed stagehands for a long time.
Good. Well, we've got one of the stagehands today.
Yes, sir.
That man is named Ivory Robertson. He's going to do an old song that was written on Natchez Trace Drive up in Nashville in the 1950s.
All right.
got nothing to do but roll around heaven all day. Lord above, can't you hear me crying? Tears all in my eyes. Send me a cloud with a silver lining. Take me to paradise. Show me that river, lead me across. Take all my troubles away. And like that lucky old sun, I'll have nothing to do but roll around to heaven all day.
Man, oh man, that was awesome. Ivory Robinson. I can hear everybody out there in Radio Land clapping right now. The applause is deafening. Is Dr. Russ MacArthur on this telephone call?
He is.
Russ MacArthur, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Jacky. How about you?
Doing great. Proud to have you on the show today, and proud to have you sponsoring Talking Back with Jacky Jack. And I guess also we call it Southern Fried and Southern Fried. All right, we got a couple of shows going on at the one time. You're getting two shows for one. Russ, I want to ask you a couple of questions, and I think they're going to be great questions. And that is, of course, I've been going to you for, I guess, maybe over 20 years, and I know about what it means and how beneficial it is to go to a good chiropractor like yourself. Of course, you have your own unique system, and it's called the MacArthur method, and you go and you lecture about this across the United States, and you've actually gone, I guess, overseas, and you've lectured about it too. Am I right on that?
I've been to Korea and Argentina.
Right. All right. Now, if you could just kind of sum up that method in a word or two, what's the MacArthur method, and how is that different and more beneficial?
Well, the method is just a different way of applying what's already in the chiropractic field. It's an understanding of how the body balances. I consider muscle spasms to be strategic, and postural distortions give clues to where the balance issues are in the body. So I've developed an approach to recognize these specific patterns that the body uses to balance and help it get the job done. If the body can accomplish its mission, then the muscle spasms
Russ, are you on a speakerphone?
No.
Okay.
I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, good.
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
All right. Well, we're going to get a lot of feedback after they hear what you're talking about, too, because this is super interesting. It's very important. So go on with what you're saying.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. I'm getting delayed when I say something that comes back to me on the phone. So.
Well, we can't hear that, so just pretend like you're singing the national anthem.
Well, the way I guess what makes my method different than anything else, Jack, is I just view muscle spasms differently than most doctors do.
I know one thing that when I've gone to you over the years, that balance is what you've been talking about. That's so absolutely important. There's one other question I was going to ask you, and that is, now look, I've been going to chiropractors. I realized how important that was early in life, and then I was very fortunate enough, Mississippi Chris Sharp, others. I hesitate to name all the ones that I know that go to you because they might want money for this, but there's some mighty notable people that go to you. But a lot of folks don't realize the tremendous benefits that they can get. If somebody has never gone to a really good chiropractor like yourself, what would you say to them? What kind of thing would you tell them that would make them realize that they need to at least give you a try?
If they realize that no matter how well they are, if they could possibly be even better than that, then chiropractic may have an answer for them.
All right, and listen, tell us exactly where you are. Where's your location?
Okay, I'm located in Meridian, Mississippi, and I'm near the North Hills Post Office on Great River Drive. And anyone who's familiar with that area,
right across from Squealers in Meridian, Mississippi. By the way, we've got to get on with it here in just a minute, but I want to tell you that I've listened to what you send me on the song list. Ryan Adams is fantastic. My Winding Wheel is a great song. Amos Lee, The Simple Things, and Gregory Alan Isikoff, which I've never heard him before, but I heard him with the song, If I Go, I'm Going. Those are strong songs, and one of the things I'm going to tell the folks that come to see you is you get in that office, and you're going to hear some of the best music. Dr. Russ MacArthur knows his music, and he knows chiropractic. So we're tickled to death to have you today, Russ, and I hope to see you pretty soon, all right?
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, now, God bless you.
You're listening to Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Not one phone call. No one understands your darn newspaper classified ad.
Sir, I am looking at our darn newspaper classified ad now, and it is perfectly clear. Sir, Ingrid missed hip, expect to perf to cap, educt neck filler, pit time, immediate open, exit pennies.
What does that mean?
Sir, you place the ad.
With a newspaper classified ad, you get very limited space. Most job seekers don't speak classifiedese.
Sir, Ingrid is short for senior engineer.
Well, we need to change the ad.
Well, you missed today's deadline, but if we hurry, your new ad will appear in,
Please.
3 days.
Oh, no. Ta-da! Your recruitment alternative has arrived. Online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Difference number 1. You have unlimited words to describe the position. 2. The ad is placed instantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 3. Once you place your ad, you can search the online database of local resumes, all for a cost lower than your newspaper ad. Browse your way online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia sold, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Well, I've gone a lot of miles in my young years. I've been overseas and I bummed over here. Every place I've been has been a lot of fun. But I like Livingston.
It's Saturday morning and you're listening to Jacky Jack White. Talking back with Jacky Jack.
Well, that's my favorite singer of all time singing, I like Livingston. It was Jacky Jack White, one of the greats. Hey, I'll tell you what, and I'm just joking there, but I do have one of the great singer-songwriters that I know in this part of the world, and he's a thinker, and he is a good picker, too, isn't he, Tyler Carroll?
Yes, sir. He's real good.
He was on the Succonachi Review last night, and he wowed them. He had his daughter Piper with him, and what was that? What's the boy's name playing dobro with you, Chris?
Daniel Weil.
Daniel Weil. He was fantastic, buddy. You were fantastic. You looked resplendent in your outfit, and you had your nice, expensive scarf around your neck. You know, I've seen like Hallmark cards that you reminded me of, kind of like a Christmas Hallmark card there for a little while.
Oh, thank you, Jacky Jack. I was it was showtime, and I wanted to look my best and be ready when it was time to come to do my thing.
Mm-hmm. Would I have permission to play some of your music sometime on this program and talk about some of that music? You're on Silver Wolf Records, is that correct?
I am.
How long have you been on
By
Silver?
all means, I'd be pleased for you to play anything you'd like to play, Jacky Jack.
And let me tell you something. The best way to get that done frequently is a little money under the table, a little brown paper bag stuff.
Well, you know, payola is illegal, Jacky Jack. So we'll.
I didn't realize that the mic was hot. I'm sorry. I did not realize that the mic was hot.
We'll act like you didn't say that, but I don't think in our case, we, you know, at the level we do music and the kind of music that I like in particular, I don't think payola.
The last 3 albums that I made, they all went wood. They wouldn't sell. Hey,
I've got some of those.
Mississippi. No, you sold a bunch of them. Mississippi Chris Sharp. I wanted to talk to you today. You're kind of a Southern philosopher. And I remember when we were doing a show at the University of West Alabama, and it was intermission, and I went back there in the back where that loading dock was, and everybody would just kind of sit back there in between sets, and you were obviously ill. How many years ago was that? And you first were diagnosed with having flu or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 2008.
2008.
And I was just having these terrible bouts of fatigue and just no energy, and it would just come on me all of a sudden, you get a circuit overloaded and the breaker trips and then the power's off, and I would have those spells where I would just suddenly run out of energy and just had no reserve.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I remember walking back there, and you'd always just been, a really active, exuberant kind of personality. And, it was obvious looking at you that something was wrong. And so you were up in the hospital for a little while, and they were treating you for flu and maybe pneumonia or something. But then all of a sudden, they found out what the real culprit was, and it was leukemia.
Right.
And so you went out to MD Anderson out in Houston. And you developed some great relationships out there. Who's your number one doctor?
Dr. Michael Keating, who's one of the world's top researchers in I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and Dr. Keating is one of the world's top researchers. And of course, everybody out there on the whole 8th floor is a leukemia ward, and those doctors on the east wing of the 8th floor, those doctors deal with nothing but the kind of leukemia that I have. And so it's great to have that resource, although I have to tip my hat to Meridian Oncology Associates and Dr. John Voss, so he's taking good care of me too. So I have 2 doctors looking after me.
Well, one thing, and I'm just wondering, I guess I am going to put words in your mouth, but one thing that I noticed that you did back in those days, you did a tremendous amount of research on your own, did you not?
I did. I guess I'm of the nature. I just had to get plugged in and get involved in what it is that has attacked my body, and so at least I could know what was going on, and there's a fine balance in there for a layman between what you need to know and what's too much for you to know, because you can actually worry yourself more than is necessary. But it was part of my makeup to have to do that. But I actually am studied to become pretty knowledgeable about chronic.
Well, I've noticed
its various types.
Yeah, I've noticed the blog that you've been writing for how many years? How many years have you been writing that blog?
Since 2008.
And I got to tell you, let me ask you something. Well, I don't know. There's no way for you to know, but how many? But there have been several people who read that blog who are going through leukemia or other illnesses, and they've been inspired by that, or though reading that blog has helped them come to grips with what they're dealing with. And I know that there's been several over the years that have called you and they've written you and they've emailed you. Am I right on that?
That's right. The Lord has blessed me richly, Jacky, in just more ways than one. I mean, my cup runneth over. It was at His direction that I started writing that blog, and I started like a lot of bloggers. You start to write a blog, and it's like a New Year's resolution. You do it for a while, and then you quit. But I've never quit this. I have thousands of pages on my blog, and I'm fortunate to have a lot of music fans, but I think I have more readers of my blog than I have music fans.
Have you ever considered maybe pulling a C.S. Lewis deal and perhaps editing that and publishing it as a book or anything like that?
I had been approached by more than one literary agent who said that what I had was, publishable and marketable, and I told them, I said, well, I am publishing it. It's published every time I put it on my blog. And they said, no, they think it might be commercially publishable. And I said, well, maybe something else. But this is what, I think the Lord had me do this, and it's been very cathartic for me. If I have angst or troubles or worries, I post it in my blog, and it just, it goes away. When I hit the publish button, it's just like all that angst just goes away. And I do have a lot of people with leukemia who read the blog, and over the years it's morphed into, more than just about leukemia. Although when the leukemia, kicks up its head, that seems to be more the focus of my blog. But it sort of morphed into a blog about the human condition. And,
I was reading that blog, and
all of us humans have.
Yeah, you were quoting St. Augustine. He says, "Wake up, O human being." And while we have another minute, could you tell me 2 or 3 things that you kind of woke up to? Really, I know this is going to sound funny, strange rather, to a lot of people, but it doesn't really sound strange maybe to a mature Christian like yourself. But what are some things that you woke up to that perhaps you were asleep to before leukemia? And leukemia can be a blessing to us. So what's 2 or 3 things that you may woke up to?
If you can consider that any kind of cancer can be a blessing, this has been a blessing for me, because it certainly made me approach the world and see things through a different. I like the filters on my lenses now. I like the way I see things, and it changed that. And if it woke me up to anything, Jacky Jack, scripturally anyway, it was the Book of Job, and I have read it and studied it, and just the troubles and the trials that I have are just infinitesimally smaller than what Job went through.
Yeah, Chris, I've got to tell you something. Reading the book, I'm not trying to be funny when I'm saying this. Reading of the Book of Job gave me an indication of how I needed to treat my dear friend and brother Chris Sharp through his challenges. And you know what that was? At the first of Job, what his friends did at first, you remember what they did? They just sat there. They sat there with him. They loved him. And they didn't say anything when they started messing up, when they started talking.
They came and they ministered to him physically.
Right.
They tended to his business for him. They sat there silently with him, and they said nothing. Only when they opened their mouth and began to speak did they start causing trouble.
That's right. So I didn't want to cause you any trouble. Chris, I love you. And
that's a great thing for people to remember, is when somebody's grieving or somebody's hurting, you don't always have to say anything. Sometimes you just need to be there.
You just need to be there. By the way, I want to tell you, last night on the Sukkah Night Review, you and Piper and what's the boy's name again? Weil? What's his first name?
Daniel Weil, W-I-L-E.
Man, kind. And what was the Patty Lovely song that you sang last?
You Don't Even Know Who I Am.
Man, that was incredible.
Written by Gretchen Peters, but it's a great, fabulous
Boy,
song.
she did it. That's one of the best songs I've heard in a long time. Listen, I'm going to let you go, but I'll be seeing you for too long. And listen, I value your friendship.
Same here, Jacky Jack. Thanks for allowing me to visit with you on the radio this morning.
All right, buddy. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye.
Tyler, you got a quick song you want to do? It's got to be a quick one, because I'm going to talk to a very famous basketball coach here in just a moment.
Well, Cody, you want to try to do Will You Be Loving Another Man?
That sounds like a racist kind of song there.
Yes, sir.
Come over here and get over here close to that microphone, boy.
It'll get going pretty quick.
They might put us off air. Go ahead.
All right.
Go on with it.
Now will you love me, little darling, when I'm in some other land? And before my decide, dear, will you be loving another man? Will you be loving another man? Will you be loving another man? When I return, will you be waiting? Or will you be loving another man? To be true, dear, I want you to please understand. Oh. When you go, don't say you're sorry, just keep on loving another man. Will you be loving another man? Will you be loving another man? When I return, will you be waiting? Or will you be loving another man?
Oh, man. You know, that kind of stuff just makes a tear go into my eye right there. Will you be loving another man? Hey, I got to tell you something. I love UWA basketball. I really do. I enjoy it so much. And I know Kelly Stevens enjoys it an awful lot. In fact, dozens and hundreds and thousands of people wear that red. They wear red jackets because they like that team that's coached by Alan Sharp, who is the son of Gary Sharp. Both of these folks are great basketball coaches. Alan Sharp, it's good to have you here.
Great, Jack. Thanks for the introduction there. That was
That'll
nice.
cost you some money, buddy.
I know it.
I'm telling you about this show. I'm going to make some money out of this show. I figured it out. Hey, no, really, I'm serious. I loved it. You know, this is a brand new game right now. I mean, compare this game that you are playing now to basketball 15 years ago. It's a big difference, isn't it?
It is, and yeah, the game has changed somewhat, and kids have changed a little bit through the years as well, and that may be the overriding, the biggest change in all of it. Mm-hmm. I tell you, the hardest part in coaching is to get a team together.
Yeah.
And
well, they're all different people.
They're different. They have different personalities. They have different things that make them tick. And boy, you know, as a coach, you always think, yeah, we can get some talent together, but talent doesn't always win for you. And you got to have some teamwork, team attitude, team chemistry. And, you know, when you have a team of 15 guys, usually, you know, only 5 are on the floor at a time. Mm-hmm. That means quite a few are over there on the side sitting and watching.
That's right.
And no one likes to sit and watch. And it's something that you have to work on every day as a coach.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I've watched your team. And as you notice, I said your team. That's a team. And, you know, the guys don't win every time, but they've got a good season going, a real good season going.
We do so far. You know, I think we're 10-4 and 4-2 in the conference. 1 game out of first place. We won the other night. We played Montevallo here at home the other night and had a good win. And you know, play again this afternoon. We play Shorter University this afternoon.
Tell me about Shorter.
Yeah, you know, you hate to say this, but you know, Shorter's at the bottom of the league right now. Mm-hmm. And not a real good record. But as a coach, those are the games that probably I am more uptight about. Those games.
You can't take them for granted.
No, you can't. And those are games that I really have to coach really, really hard, you know, to make sure that our guys are focused on the task at hand. They don't think this is going to be a pushover. Mm-hmm. Just to stay on task throughout the game. These are tough games for us. You know, most people think, man, this will be an easy game. This will be easy. Well, not necessarily. We got to really make sure we're following the game plan and execute the way we're supposed to.
That's right. But you know, in coaching, it's if you go and I see coaches do this. I see it in different sports now. I see what I call cookie cutter coaching, whereas they're going to coach by the numbers and they're going to coach by the percentages. I don't really think that's winning basketball or winning baseball or whatever. I mean, I guess you can to a certain extent, but you've got to know the personality of your players, and you've got to work with what you've got. And you agree with me on that?
Right. There's an old saying that you have to you treat them all fairly, but you're not going to necessarily treat them all equally. You know, we'll all be treated fair, but you know, each one of them has different ways that make them tick. You know, sometimes it's better to whisper criticism.
Yeah.
You know, and some guys can't handle it out in public, and you just have to have a feel of the heartbeat of your team. It's more than X's and O's.
Oh, yeah.
It's more than drawing up a play on the clipboard.
Right.
It's about you don't want to say handling. You know, you handle animals, but it's more about dealing with people and personalities, and finding the best way, the best mesh of team that gives us a chance to be successful.
You remember their people, and also you remember that that most of these guys are probably not going to be playing in the NBA. They've got to go on with life, and you got to make some good citizens.
And that's a hard part, you know. Yeah, guys, us men, we have big egos. You know, we think we think we're really good at what we do, and you know, these guys more than likely they're not going to play basketball after they finish here at college, and we have to make sure we do the best we can to have them prepared for the real world. If they show up late for work one day, they're probably going to get fired. You know, we have to being on time, discipline.
I'll tell
those
you.
Types of things.
I'll tell you, a basketball coach, and I'm not telling you this for your benefit. Of course, I loved old Coach Meyer with UWA. I loved him, and I saw his strengths and his weaknesses, just like we all have strengths and weaknesses. But your dad and I, Gary Sharp, tell him where he coached for years.
Well, he coached. He bounced around all over everywhere. A lot of small colleges in Georgia and Arkansas and Kentucky, and you know, he was just a lifer. You know, never made it to the big time, but he's a small college basketball coach, administrator. And
I want to tell you what our conversation was the last time we were out there hitting that golf ball. He got to be very reflective, and I have a lot of respect and love for him. And he was telling me what it meant to him to hear these boys call him and phone him regularly to tell him what he has meant to them in their lives after basketball.
Yeah.
He taught them life lessons. And, Alan, I know you're teaching some life lessons. Is there anything else you want to tell us about this game coming up? You want these folks to come out and see you?
You know, I hope we can. It's been tough the last couple of games because we haven't had students on campus.
Right.
And we've got one more day today when the students aren't back, and hope we have a good crowd. And, you know, we'll also
What time?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock this afternoon. Hopefully we can have a good turnout this afternoon.
Alan, great to have you. Appreciate
Good
you
deal.
coming by, buddy.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to have a great guest by the name of Roger Smith come up here in just a minute.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
There's nothing like a great steak that's seasoned to perfection and is char-grilled. Around these parts, folks know that Diamond Gems is the place for a great steak. You know a steak is good when fans travel from Tuscaloosa, Meridian, Birmingham, everywhere to dine at Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's. But they have so much more. Southern-style barbecue, great sides, a large salad bar, fresh local seafood, and homemade desserts. A full bar with your favorite drinks. And the best lunch Thursday and Friday starting at 11. Dinner Wednesday through Saturday. College students, bring your ID for Wednesday specials. A casual country atmosphere, friendly service, and awesome food. Come on down to Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's, Highway 28 West, or exit 17 if you're traveling down the road. Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's, Livingston, Alabama.
Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's will be closed the week of the 4th of July for vacation.
Not one phone call. No one understands your darn newspaper classified ad.
Sir, I am looking at our darn newspaper classified ad now, and it is perfectly clear. Sir, Ingrid missed hip, expect to perf to cap, educt neck filler, pit time, immediate open, exit pennies.
What does that mean?
Sir, you place the ad.
With a newspaper classified ad, you get very limited space. Most job seekers don't speak classifiedese.
Sir, Ingrid is short for senior engineer.
Well, we need to change the ad.
Oh, you missed today's deadline, but if we hurry, your new ad will appear in,
Please.
3 days.
Oh, no. Ta-da! Your recruitment alternative has arrived. Online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Difference number one. You have unlimited words to describe a position. 2, the ad is placed instantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 3, once you place your ad, you can search the online database of local resumes, all for a cost lower than your newspaper ad. Browse your way online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Well, I've gone a lot of miles in my young years. I've been overseas and I bummed over here. Every place I've been has been a lot of fun. But I like Livingston.
It's Saturday morning, and you're listening to Jackie Jack White. Talking Back with Jackie Jack.
And Talking Back with Jackie Jack, and I'm talking to Roger Smith, Meridian Temple Theater. How you doing, Roger?
I'm good, Jackie. Good morning, man.
Great. Talking to that thing because are you on your cell phone?
Yeah.
All right, you sound pretty good. Hey, Roger, we had a pretty good show last night.
It was just like fabulous. I mean,
Didn't we have a great crowd, and those musicians were playing and singing?
Seems like only you can do it like that, Jack. I mean, it was great.
Well, I've been doing it an awful long time, but the good Lord bless that show. That was great. Listen, a lot of people have forgotten the Waco siege. That was the siege of that compound belonging to the Branch Davidians, and here comes the American feds and the Texas state law enforcement, and the U.S. military, and the only footage, I guess, that was shot was from your helicopter. Is that correct?
That's true. That's true. Before I came to Meridian, I was a helicopter pilot my whole life, and the last 21 years was with the ABC affiliate in Dallas, which is WFAS, and they were really the only presence, definitely with access to the compound, because I was in the helicopter.
Now, there was a 51-day siege, wasn't it?
Yeah, I lived down there. I lived there in well, it's very interesting. I lived, to start with, in the Hilton, which was a nice hotel, and the government booted all of us out and rented the entire hotel, and we had to move to a little flea bag motel on the outskirts of town. But, I see all these people telling about it like they know all about it, and I always want to ask them, well, were you there when it happened?
That's right.
And, of course, none of them were, but I was, and it was just...
Four ATF agents got killed and 6 Branch Davidians in the initial raid.
It was a Sunday morning, and David Koresh... Well, see, the thing is, the government kind of has a mentality, a Rambo mentality. If you don't have helicopters and, big show, they don't want it. And the reality of that event, everybody knew David Koresh, and he could have been arrested walking downtown getting a haircut. And I rather doubt if you would have all those deaths, if that's the way it had been handled.
76 people were killed inside that compound when they had the FBI assault. Isn't that correct? About 76 people?
Yeah. And the only thing, I see everybody attacking the government. The government did not want the place to burn down, okay? They did inject tear gas. I don't believe the tear gas set the place on fire. I could be wrong, but I don't think that that's what happened, because you could hear them set it in place on fire. The place had been bugged for a long time. It even had a mole in there with the government posing as a member, and the sole offense was that he had a big air gun that could shoot down my helicopter, and he actually did threaten to shoot it down. I don't remember what the caliber was, but it was big enough, some kind of like a big anti-aircraft type gun, and he had threatened to shoot us down.
Now, when they had that major assault, did they bring in some other helicopters during that big assault?
No, there was no helicopter in the air. What happened is that when I was dispatched on the call, it was for a shot down DEA helicopter, which sounded suspicious, sounded abnormal. And there was one Jet Ranger that made a precautionary landing on the property, but there was no aircraft ever in the air other than mine. And I was circling it. Our helicopter had a real sophisticated autopilot to orbit for a prolonged time, and so that's what I was doing. And I have to be frank with you, I didn't really realize that the people were being shot because I was not really focusing on those little pictures, and with that powerful camera where you could zoom in and see exactly what was going on.
Well,
that's where you could.
I was just going to ask you a question because we're running a little bit out of time, but I was going to ask you, they cite the events at Waco and then the siege at Ruby Ridge that was less than 12 minutes early as being the primary motivations behind the Oklahoma City bombing that took place exactly 2 years later. If you're looking back, and we'll say, even though, man, you were in the best seat in the house, I guess, to watch all this incredible stuff ensue. But just in your opinion, what could they have done to have prevented all of that?
Just arrested David Koresh downtown, and don't be so police state heavy-handed with these people, because they're willing to die en masse, and unless that's what you want, it needs to be handled a little bit more discreetly, so to speak, one-on-one in small operations, not these big Rambo-type movie operations, because that just ratchets up the hate that the people have for the federal government. And I'm just being honest with
right. You. And what you're really saying is common sense and common decency. And,
common sense. And,
and a little bit of diplomacy.
Diplomacy that, they put those loudspeakers on them and they did everything they could to agitate the people and intimidate them. And
it worked. Hey, Roger, let me ask you this. We're about to hit this hard mark here. I want to have you on again. Is that possible?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Of course.
Hey, Roger, enjoyed last night with the Sucker Night Review. We're going to take a break now, and we're going to talk to you again sometime.
All right, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
More Talking Back with Jackie Jack is on the way.
York Drug has a new phone number, and they are there when you need them. Put the number in your phone now. Ready? The new number is 205-725-8118. You never know when you're going to have a question about a prescription or over-the-counter medication, or if your order's ready. Eddie and the staff are ready to answer your questions. Put the new number in your phone or write it down for York Drug when you need it. The new number is 205-725-8118. That's 205-725-8118. York Drug also has new store hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And a new phone number, 205-725-8118. 205-725-8118. Always one call away. York Drug.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia Soul, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
The singers, songwriters, and the music. It's Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Southern Fried with old Jacky Jack White. I got to tell you something. We've got some folks today, and our title really fits them, because these folks, not only are they cooking musicians, but I'm telling you what, they are Southerners, and they fry everything they eat, including the napkins. There's no question about it. We've got one of the great singer-guitarists. He's legendary in this part of the world, but he's legendary really all over the world, because he made an album some years ago called Sumter County Porch. And this old boy who'd been known in our part of the world got to be known all over the place, and NPR interviewed him on radio out of Illinois. And then, like I say, that album was on Silverwolf Records, and it went everywhere. And it's a great honor to have with us Mr. J. Burton Fuller. How you, Jay?
Fine, I hope, Jack.
Right.
A little bit older than you.
You know, one of the things a lot of people don't know about Jay Burton that don't live in this part of the world, but Jay Burton is he's a craftsman. I mean, he can make just about anything. And I'll never forget, we were on radio, Ivory. We were on radio in Meridian. And Dumpster Dog, his real name is Paul Davis, not to be confused with the 70 million album-selling Paul Davis musician, but our friend Dumpster Dog over there on WMOX, he asked, he was marveling at the guitars that Jay Burton has made and the decoys and all kinds of things. And he just said, and he was just marveling. He says, Jay Burton, how in the world do you do this? And Jay Burton says, Dumpster, all you need is some simple hand tools. Simple hand tools. What are you going to play and sing?
I'm going to do a new song, Jack.
Oh, who did it first, you know?
Jimmy Davis.
Oh, that's the singing governor of Louisiana, right?
Written and recorded in 1945.
It's in the key of C, boys. Come on, knock into it.
There's a new moon over my shoulder and an old love in my heart. I remember now that I'm bolder what you told me the day we had to part. You promised with a new moon you'd be coming back to me. But many moons have passed and I'm waiting patiently. There's a new moon over my shoulder and an old love in my heart. There's a new moon over my shoulder and an old love in my heart. And I remember, now that I'm bolder, what you told me the day we had to part. You promised with a new moon you'd be coming back to me. But many moons have passed and I'm waiting patiently. There's a new moon over my shoulder and an old love in my heart.
What about that? Wasn't that awesome? I'm telling you what, boys, and you know that mandolin player, did you notice his fingers never left his hand? It was awesome. J. Burton Fuller, you can't hear thunder. How in the world can you sing that good? Now, I don't mean any harm by that.
Oh, you're right. I can't hear thunder.
I'm telling you. You know, boys, get up here.
And hearing aids don't cure the problem, Jack. They
Tyler,
help.
you and Ivory, get up close to that microphone. So I mean, boys, we've been listening to this guy sing a long, long time, but he still sings fantastic, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's got that warm tone to his voice that everybody likes so well.
That's right, you know. Look, don't say too much like that. His head will start swelling, and he'll have to get out the door somehow.
He already don't have a hat on.
Gets better every time.
I'm telling you.
Ivory, he's all right, isn't he? Hey, you know, this is Ivory Robertson over here in Radio Land, and he's been on radio quite a bit with the Sukanachi State.
Here and there, yes, I have.
And we've had an awful lot of fun over the years, and I thought we might do a little bit of that old original song.
You know what? I think that's a good idea, Jack. Let's do that. Well, a friend of mine, he came to me and he said, I need your help. Said his woman thinks the only thing he cares for is himself. Then I asked him, do you love her? And he said, I love her so. And then I told him, here's the thing you need to know. Tell her she's beautiful even in the morning.
In the morning.
With no makeup on and when her hair's a mess. You give her flowers for no reason. Surprise her with her favorite meal. You gotta let her know that what you feel is real. Well, my buddy called the next day and told me thanks for the advice. He asked me how'd I know, and then I said I've been there once or twice. I told him time's the best teacher. Don't let it go to waste. You better learn your lesson before it runs too late. Tell her she's beautiful even in the morning.
In the morning.
With no makeup on when her hair's a mess. You give her flowers for no reason. Surprise her with her favorite meal. You gotta let her know that what you feel is real. Treat that woman of yours like a lady.
Like a lady.
Gotta make her feel special every day, yeah. And if you really love that woman, don't let her walk away. You look her in the eyes and this is what you say.
This is what you say.
Tell her she's beautiful even in the morning.
In the morning.
With no makeup on and when her hair's a mess. You give her flowers for no reason. Surprise her with her favorite meal. Gotta let her know that what you feel is real. You gotta let her know that what you feel is real. That's a true story. After you slept on the couch long enough, you'll be singing that song too.
I'm telling you.
That's where the inspiration came from.
Jay, let Tyler sit there for a second, and Ivory, give up your seat over there to the young man. Tell me your name again.
Cody Gressett.
Cody. How you spell your last name?
Gressett.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what you were saying. You know, you kind of remind me way you were talking there. I used to, I was eating lunch with this guy a number of years ago in McMinnville, Tennessee. There was a family there. This guy, he was a young guy like you guys, but he was just, I'm talking about he was eating like a Shetland pony. I mean, he was just shoveling that stuff down, and he wasn't even looking at me. And I said, who do you work for? And he's just shoving. He wasn't even looking. He said, Medidi. And I said, Medidi. And he goes, Mia Medidi. And he kept shoving that food in. And these people that, you know, that was his family, they were just as nice and classy as you can. And I said, I don't know that I know about that business. And this guy said, what he's trying to tell you is that he's working for his daddy. He's saying, my daddy. And I said, well, that makes perfect sense to me.
He must have not have fed him much.
I'm telling you. Boys, what are you going to play and sing? This is Tyler Carroll in the Pine Ridge, part of the Pine Ridge Bluegrass Boys. They were on the Second Night Review last night and wowed everybody.
Let's see if we can do one that I wrote. It's called Here Comes a Broken Heart Again.
All right, I dare you to. Go ahead.
Well, here comes a broken heart again. I try and try, but I can't win. All I do is keep on trying, and that's why I keep on crying. Well, I said I don't love you anymore, but you just kept walking through the door. All I could see was her smiling, and I couldn't even tell she was lying. Well, here comes a broken heart again. I try and try, but I can't win. All I do is keep on trying, and that's why I keep on crying.
Hit it thing, boy.
Well, what I should have done was ran and gotten far away as I can before it's too late and we part, and that leads to another broken heart. Well, here comes a broken heart again. I try and try, but I can't win. All I do is keep on trying, and that's why I keep on crying. Well, here comes a broken heart again. I try and try, but I can't win. All I do is keep on trying, and that's why I keep on crying.
Oh, man, now. Mankind. You know, you sing an awful lot like Lester Flatt.
Yes, sir.
Is he one of your heroes?
Yes, sir. I say I studied him a good long time. Yes, sir.
And you were playing. Tell him about that guitar there.
This guitar I bought probably a little over a year ago, I'd say. It's a Lester Flatt D28 model. And
that's a great pick guard. You know, Josh White and then Bob Shane of the Kingston Trio and then the Ivory brothers, you know, on their guitars, they had the double pick guard, but that's like a not quite a 3/4 pick guard, but that comes right around that rosette.
Yes, sir.
And I know it protects the guitar, but it's just absolutely beautiful.
I like it. I'd always saw them. I knew they come out in the late 90s, and ever since I was a kid, I always wanted one. I finally got one.
Now, I've always loved that J180 Gibson that the Everly brothers play with the mustache pick guards around the rosette. But I've heard, as they say down here, also I've heard, but I've heard that could kind of kill the resonance of the guitar. Do you know a fact about that?
I've heard that.
Get Jay Burton over here. He makes them. I want to ask him that.
Come here, Jay Burton.
Come here for a second, Jay. I want to ask you that. Jay, if you put a double pick guard around that rosette, would that kill the resonance or the sustain of that guitar at all, do you think? Get close to the mic when you ask me.
It might affect it some, Jack. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you.
You're not a scientist?
No.
Have you stayed at the Holiday Inn Express? Well, forget that.
Forget it.
Hey, Tyler, back to you. Lester Flatt's cousin was Lehman Flatt. He was a Church of Christ preacher. Lehman Flatt, by the way, can I make a plug? I preach here at Livingston Church of Christ.
Yes.
9:30 on Sundays is our Bible study, and then I get up there and preach at 10:30, and I put effort into that.
It's good.
And then on Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock, I got that plug in. Okay, but anyway, Lehman was a great friend of mine. I mean, an absolutely dear friend of mine, but he looked almost exactly like Lester Flatt. Did you ever know Lehman? Did you ever see him?
I never have. No.
Well, now
sir.
look, he was a killer harmonica player. He traveled around with him a lot, and but like I say, he looked so much like him. Everybody thought that he was. And finally, he just stopped correcting people. He said they'd say, "You're hey brother Lehman," and he just, "Oh yeah, okay," and he'd just go along with it. But anyway, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but when Lester got so ill, he got so sick, and he had never been baptized, and he had never given his heart, and mind, and soul over to the Lord, and so Lehman was over there, and there was another minister named Olin Bassham. Ain't that a name? Olin Bassham. Then there was this little guitar picker over there, and his name was Marty Stewart. Have you ever heard of his name?
Yeah.
Marty Stewart. Anyway, they was in Sparta. I don't know if you ever heard Lester say that, but they'd say, he says, and hello, friends and neighbors, we just got this little band from Sparta. And so they lived up there in Sparta. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something about Sparta. I shouldn't say this, but it was really known for moonshine in Sparta. I'm not kidding you. But anyway, he decided to give his heart, mind, and soul over to Jesus, and Marty Stewart and Olin Bassham and Lehman took him over there to the church and baptized him. Now, the rest of that story is that Marty, when he got to be, he was a session guy and played with Johnny Cash and everybody, and such a marvelous musician. But when he first started getting to be known as a solo artist and he was just getting famous, he was on Ralph Emery's show.
Oh, yeah.
And unlike Damon Collins of this studio, who does his homework, Ralph never did his homework at all. And he just winged everything, and he thought that was wonderful. But he said to Marty, he says, "Marty, I know you're young, but you've been around, and you've played with all the greats." And he had. I mean, Marty played with all the greats, even when by the time he was 23, 24 years old. I mean, he'd been playing since he's 13. By the way, he started out with Margie and Enoch.
Yes.
And then he went with Tammy and what was...
Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And then that's when Lester took him on the road, and he lived with Lester. All right. So, anyway, Ralph said, what's your greatest accomplishment in the music business so far? Marty didn't hesitate, looked him right now. He says, I helped baptize Lester Flatt. Ralph Emery, that's the only time I believe I've ever seen him completely speechless. He just wasn't expecting that. But I've asked Marty about that later. He said it's still my greatest accomplishment because guess what? He loved Lester Flatt.
Yes.
He was crazy about him. Yeah. But, boy, you do a great job. Is there anybody else that you guys that you listen to in bluegrass or any kind of music that really influences you?
Well, it's a bunch. Bill Monroe would be one, of course. Flatt and Scruggs. And the first CD that I ever got was actually a Jimmy Rogers CD when I was real young.
Okay.
And then I got a George Jones.
What's your favorite Jimmy Rogers song? Do you have a favorite song? What about Waiting on a Train? You like that?
That's a good one. Let Me Be Your Sidetrack. That's a good one. You don't hear much. Mystery of Old Number 5. That's a good one.
Right. Free from the Chain Gang.
Yes,
now.
that's
Isn't that a
good
great
one, too.
song?
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you, I was doing a gig with Mississippi Chris Sharp one time, and we had that song. We were going to do that song. In fact, we're going to do it on a riverboat. We're going to do it on the Delta Queen. And I said, I never have liked the way this last verse goes. And he says, well, you can't change it because, you know, if Jimmy Rogers and Elsie McWilliams wrote, you can't change it. I said, well, they didn't write it. It was some Tin Pan Alley bunch. He says, well, change it. And I changed it. You know how I changed the last verse? I changed it that he died in prison and he was free from the chain gang.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't any happy verse, you know. Because I'm like Charlie Rich. They said, Charlie, you sing a lot of sad songs. He just said, I don't like no happy songs. You know. But mankind, I love what you're doing. Well, boys, we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back a little while. We're going to talk to somebody.
All right.
Thank you, man.
You're listening to Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia Soul, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Welcome to What is Wrong with You People. I'm your host, the Fairy Godmother, and with me today is the Leprechaun.
Hello!
And our good friend, the Gift Horse. Okay, we're pretty much used to people not believing in us.
Makes no sense. All folks gotta do is follow me to a pot of gold. A pot of gold!
And you've seen what I can do with a pumpkin and a wand.
Amen, brother. Right in the mouth.
But why on earth are people putting off going to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com to find a great job?
Gotta believe in those guys.
The jobs are local. It's easy to use.
He nailed it. Completely free.
And still, there are job seekers who haven't logged on to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com.
What is wrong with you people? I mean, fine. You don't want to trust the little green man.
Fairy godmothers may be a little out of favor today. If wishes were horses.
Good one.
But seriously, no excuses. Go today. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
That you can believe in. Oh, this guy.
Employers, listen up. Do you need highly skilled workers for your business? Alabama's Department of Labor exists to be a voice of opportunity for job seekers and their future employers. That would be you. With 49 career centers throughout Alabama and more than 25,000 different job postings online, the Department of Labor helps place workers in multiple industries. So if you're looking for quality candidates who are ready, willing, and able to help your company succeed, the Department of Labor can help. Sponsored by Alabama Department of Labor, Alabama Construction Recruitment Institute, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alabama and Mississippi, it's Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Southern Fried. Man, isn't that something? You ever fried up a chicken, J. Burton Fuller?
Have I ever fried? No, I haven't ever fried.
Did you ever have guineas?
Guineas?
People up north are going to be listening to this. They don't know what a guinea is. You ever have any guineas?
Yes, we had guineas.
You know, we had a family that wanted to sing at our community center one time, and I'd never heard them. And so I asked this fellow, I said, I've never heard these folks sing. I said, have you heard them? He said, yes, I have. I said, how do they sound? He said, they sound like daybreak on a guinea farm. and get this, I thought that was one of the funniest lines I'd ever heard, you know. So I called up my 94-year-old daddy who loves you. You know, my daddy and mama think a lot of J. Burton Fuller and Mary Dean Fuller.
Think a lot of them.
Well, anyway, I called up my dad, and I said, Daddy, I got to tell you this line. I said, you know, it sounded like daybreak on the Guinea farm. I thought that was so funny. Man, he ain't laughing, you know. And I said, don't you think that's a great line? He said, well, he's 94 years old, you know. He said, well, I'll tell you, son. Said, we had some guineas out on the farm there in Bryant Station. One time they decided to roost between the barn and the house. And he said, you know, some mornings it sounded like they were bombing Tokyo.
They could do that. They could.
All right, look, I want to ask you something else. What made Hank Williams Sr. so great? What made him so great?
Well, Jack, it was a gift that God gave him.
Wasn't he fantastic?
He was.
Now, look, I heard, you know, I hung around the Grand Ole Opry all the time because one of the few perks that I had, because I loved working for Acuff and Rose and writing for them, and I like writing for Ray Pillow's publishing company in New London, but my perk was that I could hang around the stage at the Opry all the time, and I took full advantage of it. I absolutely loved it. You mentioned Monroe earlier. I was around Monroe. In fact, one time I saw him out there, and this little girl was taking his picture behind stage with a Polaroid. Remember they used to use Polaroid cameras?
Yeah.
Instant cameras. And she said, Mr. Monroe said, could you move back? And he's just standing up there with that stiff neck. He says, no, little girl, you move back. but anyway, you know, I'd hang around there, and I remember one time, I can't think what this guy's name was. It wasn't Judd Collins, but somebody, Harold Hensley, somebody was interviewing Gene Shepard. Now I want y'all to listen to this, boys. And she said, he said, well, tell me about Hank Williams. What made him so great? Now I want you to listen to what she said. Well, you know, he wasn't much of a singer. Man, when I heard that, I thought, well, you know what you're talking about now. You know, she's a great singer. But the thing about it, what she was trying to say, he technically might not have been all that great a singer, just like Jimmy Rogers was not technically all that great a singer. But let me tell you one thing. He knew how to communicate, and here's another word that starts with the letter C. He knew how to connect with an audience, didn't he?
He sure did.
And I'm telling you something, when he would show up on the Opry, or anywhere for that matter, and he'd kind of hunker down over that microphone, and he'd start singing, I mean, you know, it was bells ringing in heaven. I mean, people just loved it. And I think this, that just the ordinary working man and woman, boy and girl, they could identify with him. And I'll tell you somebody else that, I mean, it's toward his last years, you know, he had that yo-yo and that fiddle, he'd bounce off his nose and everything. But Roy Acuff, when he was younger, he had a very powerful, strong, distinctive voice. But this is my opinion. I want to welcome your opinion. But one of the reasons I think that he was because they called him the king of country music, I think the reason that he communicated so well is that I think that, of course, during the Depression and afterwards, that so many people looked at him and they thought, well, you know, he's like us and he's made a success in what he's doing. Not necessarily the music bit, it's just he's made a success in what he's doing, and it was an inspiration to them, perhaps. What do you think?
Well, Jack, I think they sang about what they knew.
Oh.
The things that they were singing about, they had lived, and they loved what they were singing about.
That's right. Right.
So this came across to everybody.
Well, you know, we're going to sing an old song that Hank Williams made famous. He wrote it and everything. And I'll never forget, though, you know, the last woman he was married to was not Miss Audrey, it was Dorothy Jean, you know. And I probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's my show. I can get away with it. And so anyway, you know who she was married to after Hank Williams died in the back of that Cadillac? She was married to Johnny Horton. And then Johnny Horton, you know, got killed in a car wreck. And then so afterwards, here comes Waylon Jennings, and Waylon Jennings is just his town. Remember, he used to have that old hair slicked back and everything. He's sinister looking, but he's sharp looking. All the women liked him. So Dorothy Jean was kind of talking him up after one of those shows, and Waylon, in all seriousness, says, get away with me. Get away from me. You've already killed 2 living legends. And so this is a song that Hank did, and it was about what he'd lived, which wasn't always so pretty, and it goes like this.
All over town that you've been seen running round.
Oh, yeah, tell it.
Just trusting you was my great sin. What can I do? You win again. I'm sorry for your victim now, 'cause soon his head like mine will bow.
It happens. Just trusting you. Oh, that was my greatest sin. What?
You still.
You know it's true.
You win again.
Sing this part right here, Jay Burton. This heart of mine. Sing it now.
Could never see what everybody
E
knew.
And then A. And then that 5. Just trust in you. Oh, that was my greatest sin. What can I do? Oh, boys. Girl, you win. Oh, again and again. Oh, once again. All right. Ivory, you got choked up there, buddy.
Yeah.
Were you thinking about some girl that put you down or what?
You know what? That song just resonates with so many people, and I'm no exception. So, yes. She
won again. Do you understand what I'm saying? She put a frog in his throat. Jay Burton, sit down where he's sitting down. Give him your chair.
Jack White, don't call on me like that. Surprising. That song's way too high for me to sing.
Well, I thought that was true for the automobile you're driving. It's way too high for you to drive and to forward. What do you want to sing, boy?
Boy.
Friend?
Thank you.
All right.
Well, Key of G.
Key of G?
Waltz Across Texas.
That's a good song. That's an Ernest Tubb song.
No joke. When you dance with me, dear, my world's in disguise. It's a fairyland dream that's come true. And when you look at me with those stars in your eyes, I could waltz across Texas with you. Waltz across Texas with you in my arms. I could waltz across Texas with you. Like a storybook ending, I'm lost in your charms. I could waltz across Texas with you. My heartaches and troubles are just up and gone the moment that you walk in view. And with your hand in mine, I could dance on and on. I could waltz across Texas with you. Waltz across Texas with you in my arms. Waltz across Texas with you. Like a storybook ending, I'm lost in your charms. And I could waltz across Texas with you.
Can I sing it like Ernest here? I'm gonna waltz across Texas with you in my arms. Waltz across Texas with you. Play it, Billy Bird. Like a storybook ending, I'm lost in your charms. And I could waltz across Texas with you. We're going to take a break right now. Boys, that was fantastic.
Music with Southern character and the stories from the singers and songwriters. It's Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia sold, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Welcome to What Is Wrong With You People. I'm your host, the Fairy Godmother, and with me today is the Leprechaun.
Hello!
And our good friend, the Gift Horse. Okay, we're pretty much used to people not believing in us.
Makes no sense. All folks gotta do is follow me to a pot of gold. A pot of gold!
And you've seen what I can do with a pumpkin and a wand.
Amen, brother. Right in the mouth.
But why on earth are people putting off going to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com to find a great job?
Gotta believe in those guys.
The jobs are local. It's easy to use.
He nailed it. Completely free.
And still, there are job seekers who haven't logged on to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com.
What is wrong with you people? I mean, fine. You don't want to trust the little green man.
Fairy godmothers may be a little out of favor today. If wishes were horses.
Good one.
But seriously, no excuses. Go today. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
That you can believe in. Oh, this guy.
Alabama and Mississippi, it's Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
Hartley Peavey founded Peavey Electronics, one of the world's largest manufacturers and suppliers of musical and professional audio equipment, great amplifiers and guitars. Started back in 1964. I'm mighty honored to have him on the radio with me today. Hello, Hartley Peavey.
Hello, Jacky. How you doing?
I'm doing great, buddy. It's an honor to have you on radio. You notice how nice I'm being to you today, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know you're having a busy day, and I appreciate you spending this kind of time. Now, you've actually built your first amplifier a long time before 1964.
Yeah, I went to. By the way, Jackie, I'm getting some kind of crazy echo on this thing. Everything I say, I hear it back a fraction of a second later.
We hear you fine, but just pretend like you're singing the national anthem at Houston Astrodome. You know.
Okay.
Just go on with it.
Do I have to stand up too?
You can if you'd like. Put your hand over your heart.
No, I went to a Bo Diddley concert in Laurel, Mississippi, in the fall of I think it was '57, and I kind of went nuts and told my dad that I wanted to play guitar, and he told me that.
Tell him what kind of business your dad had.
Oh, my dad ran a music store, and he came to Meridian. He graduated in 1932, which was the middle of the Great Depression. Couldn't find a job, so the only thing he could find to do to make any money was to play saxophone in a swing band, and they played literally all over the Southeast. And he got tired of that, and in 1938 he came back to Meridian and opened a music store with $50 and a second-hand piano. He met my mother a year or so later, and I came along in 1941, and I was brought up in the music business, in the music store. So I got to kind of learn the music business from the inside out, so to speak, and it's been a big benefit to me in my career. But anyway, I went to this Bo Diddley concert, and he was jumping around on stage. He had a guitar, would you believe, covered in rabbit fur. It was a Les Paul Special, the flat top version. He had it in rabbit fur. He's jumping around playing his little Bo Diddley lick, and I went home and told my dad that I wanted to play guitar. And he said, well, you know, guitar players are lousy. They don't pay their bills, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I guess I should have listened to him, but I really wanted to play guitar, and I wanted him to give me a guitar, but being a product of the Depression, you know, he says, well, son, you know, if you learn to play one, I'll think about getting you one. And, of course, that wasn't good enough for a kid, so I decided that if he wouldn't give me one, I'd make my own. So I got a bunch of old parts from junk guitars that he had laying around in the attic of his music shop. And I built a guitar. It wasn't very nice, but at least it made a sound, and I wound my own pickup with number 38 wire. And then I needed an amplifier, so I looked in one of the electronic magazines, and I built my first amplifier in late, I think it was 57, probably in December. I remember it was cold. It didn't sound very good, but at least it worked. And I spent the next 8 years trying to be a guitar player and obviously never made it. So that's how all this silliness began.
Yeah. I want to say one thing about that. Tony Holt says that you were a pretty good guitar player. Tony told me that.
Well, Jackie, I was pretty, but I'm not sure about good.
Now you're delusional. Hey, Hartley,
okay.
I guess when you first started, everybody just opened up their arms and said, welcome to the amplifier business and to the speaker business and sound system business and the guitar business. We're so happy to have you. That's what happened, wasn't it?
They were just overjoyed.
That's right.
No, the truth of the matter is, Jackie, everybody said I was crazy.
Well, I mean, you started out on what was that, Melody Music? Was it Peavey's Melody Music?
Yeah, it was called Peavey's Melody Music.
And you were up in the upstairs, and I guess they thought you were some kind of mad scientist or something, didn't you?
Well, my dad actually sold his music store to Mississippi Music the year I graduated from high school, which was 1960. And my dad kept the building, but the business was owned by Mississippi Music, and my first little factory, actually it was in my parents' basement with my Sears Craftsman saws and almost no tools. Anyway, my dad had a room upstairs that used to belong to one of the local optical companies where they ground glass. This was back when glasses were actually made out of glass.
Right.
And I started my first little factory up there, and I didn't realize what a Don Quixote moment I was involved in, because, I mean, looking at it, anybody that had any sense would have seen that what I was trying to do was insane. But being full of pep, I
like that.
decided,
Pep and vinegar. That's nice.
Pep and vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe another word. I don't
Family-friendly radio. Thank you, Hartley.
But no, it was a totally crazy thing. I was stupid enough to believe that if I tried hard enough, I could do it. And in spite of the fact that almost everybody I know, including my own parents, told me that I was nuts, that there's no way that I could compete with this company or that company, big companies with famous names. But, Jacky, what had happened, and I didn't realize it at the time, as you know, music kind of goes through different stages.
No question.
Back then, rock and roll was, well, you know, it started really in the mid '50s, and by the early '60s, this kind of original rock and roll had, from my perspective, been taken over by the lawyers, and they had all these what I call pretty boy singers, Frankie Avalon and Paul Anka.
That's right. Dion and the Belmonts.
Yeah. And, you know, the kids wanted something you could dance to. But this was kind of before Motown got started in the early 60s. The Brits were very impressed with this American rock and roll, and they kind of repackaged it and sold it back to us, and rock and roll exploded.
Hartley, they were listening to the guys that you've always liked. They were listening.
Absolutely.
They were listening to Robert Johnson. They were listening to John Lee Hooker. They were listening to Bo Diddley, who later you got to know well, and then B.B. King, who you got to know real well. You were great friends with him, and they were listening to that. And of course, I'm leaving out Muddy. They absolutely idolized Muddy Waters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, there's a thing that Mississippi is the home of American music, and that's basically true, because the blues kind of combined with country, and what fell out was rock and roll. And that was what I was raised on. Actually, I got my introduction to the blues in kind of a unique way. When I was in high school, I had taken almost every shop course at Ross Collins that I could, and word got around that I could fix electronics. And a local jukebox operator contacted me, and he had a I don't know what you call it, a route or whatever, but anyway, he had jukeboxes all over the place, and restaurants and juke joints and that kind of thing. And the jukebox amplifiers were, he didn't know it, but they were pretty simple. You know, a couple of 6L6s and a 5U4 rectifier and a preamp tube or so. And 9 times out of 10, what was wrong with the jukeboxes is a tube burnout, because a tube, when you operate it, I mean, they're like a candle. They're literally burning themselves up.
Burn it up.
So he thought I was a genius because I could fix his old jukebox amplifiers, and a lot of his jukeboxes used old 78s, and a lot of the 78s, you know, they didn't last that long because they were made out of shellac instead of vinyl.
That's right.
And he had to change out his records about every 2 or 3 months, and he'd take the records that he changed out and he'd throw them away. And I said, whoa, don't throw them away, give them to me. And first thing you know, I had 3 or 4 tall stacks of 78s with, you know, a lot of these blues labels like VJ and Excello. And
that's some great music, man. That's some great music.
Well, it was, and, you know, I still have some of it, although while I was in college, I had 4 big stacks about 3.5 feet tall in the back of my closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I came home one weekend and opened the closet, and I noticed that half of them were gone. So I asked my mother, I said, Mom, what happened to those records? And she said, well, you don't ever listen to them anymore, so I sold them.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have any Tampa Red or Big Bill Brunsey or any of that stuff?
I don't remember Tampa Bed, but I did have some Brunsey things, but mostly it was Lowell Fulson and, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters.
Gosh, I love that stuff.
Almost anything on the Imperial label.
Oh, I love that stuff.
And Fury. I think James Brown was on Fury.
Oh, yeah, for a little while.
But anyway, I had all these records, and, I had them, so I listened to them, and I was very much influenced by them, and even still today.
Hey, did you know that influence still lives on in some of those guitars that you've put out? Because that HP
can't help but be influenced. But when they were building the B.B. King Museum, they were looking for old B.B. King records. And of course, all the old B.B. King records were on 78s.
Right.
And back then, he called himself Blues Boy, which is what
translated
BB stands
to BB.
for.
Right.
And I think his first label was it was RPM, the RPM label.
Okay.
They were in the Memphis area. I don't know whether in Arkansas or Memphis.
I don't
anyway,
remember RPM.
RPM was a small regional label, and he recorded then under the name Blues Boy King, and later he just shortened it up. His real name was Riley. Anyway, BB was always a hero of mine because I tried to emulate his playing, and of course never got close. And the fact is, nobody else has either. I mean, the way he's
just got his own deal.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear BB play, and he wasn't fast,
but it was his signature.
Absolute, exquisite timing. Every lick is where it's supposed to be. Not fancy, not flashy, but great.
Are you aware that BB could explain it though? I mean, my brother gave me. This is when it was on VHS. He gave me 8, and it was B.B. King talking about playing the guitar. And I thought, how in the world is he going to fill up 8 of these things? I tell you something, B.B. could explain it. So many guitar players, they just can't explain it. But he could show you, and he could explain it. But could you? But could you replicate
nobody
it?
else could copy his timing.
No, you can't replicate it.
I sure couldn't do it.
Hey, we're going to hit a hard break here, but I want to ask you 2 questions because I know you've worked with so many musicians over the years, and so many great musicians have used the Peavey products. We've already talked about BB and Bo Diddley, and of course, there's been so many that have used the product. But does anybody stand out in your mind? Maybe 1 or 2 stand out in your mind that you just really enjoyed getting to know? And of course, my buddy, my buddy, the guy that I wanted to meet so much, and you introduced me to him, was James Burton. But is there anybody that stands out in your mind?
James was, or is, a very interesting person. And, of course, he played with so many people. He was a staff guitarist on this music show back in the 60s called Shindig.
Right.
He played with Ricky Nelson. As a matter of fact, James was telling me one evening that we were sitting around. He was telling me all these stories, and I said, good Lord, James, you need to write a book. And he never has. I wish he would have, but he is just an amazing individual, an amazing musician.
You went to a lot of trouble to make sure that I could meet him, and then when I met him, and I hope you don't remember this, but I absolutely went speechless. And you looked,
Jacky, I've never seen you speechless.
Well, that happened, and there was somebody else standing there. We won't mention Jody's name, but Jody looked at James Burton and said, "This doesn't happen often." But I'm just always crazy. I kept up with him, Louisiana Hayride to Ricky Nelson to Elvis, and then he played with everybody after that. All right, one other question I got to ask you. You've been in business for an awful long time. You've seen a lot of folks come and go. Are there 2 or 3 ingredients that make you successful in this business?
Well, as you know, probably better than most, music is all about passion. In fact, his music is one of the few things that people will fight you over. There's politics and romance and religion and a couple of other things. But if you happen to be a fan of a particular kind of music and somebody's, putting it down, saying that anybody that likes, so-and-so kind of music is stupid or crazy or whatever, you kind of want to, backslap them. But the fact is, 2 things kind of set folks apart with regard to music. One of those is passion, and the other is talent. I had an overabundance of passion. Unfortunately, musically speaking, I didn't get my father's musical talent. And for a while in my early career, I kind of felt like I was dealt a poor hand, but I was too stupid to realize the gift that I was given, and that's the ability to build things.
You've got that great ability. You got another ability, and I don't want to I don't want to hurt your reputation. You have got one of the greatest abilities to encourage artists, but especially young artists, and I've seen that firsthand, and I've been encouraged by you. But I love the way that you're encouraging even folks a whole lot younger than I am. And I want to tell you something. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, as a human being, the very best we can ever hope to do is to make a difference, hopefully for the better. And if I keeled over today, I hope that I've created situations to make things, not just musical things, but things better. In fact, since we started back in 65, which, by the way, is 52 and a half years ago, our 53rd anniversary at Peavey will be this coming June the 1st.
Wow.
But the fact of the matter is, if I keeled over tomorrow, I like to think that I have made a difference. In fact, as Peavey, in a small town, 35,000 people or so, there's hardly any family in a 20 or 30 mile radius that hadn't had a son, a daughter, father, mother, cousin, uncle, aunt working at Peavey.
That's great.
The fact is, we've had almost 15,000 people to flow through Peavey in that time.
But I want to tell you one thing. There are a lot more people that appreciate it than don't, and maybe they don't always say it. Hartley, we're heading up against a hard break. I really appreciate you spending this time with me today, and tell Mary we send our best, and hope to see you soon.
All right, good enough.
All right, my friend.
Thank
God
you.
bless. Bye-bye.
More Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White is on the way.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872-887, 2016 Kia Soul, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Alabama and Mississippi, it's Southern Fried with Jacky Jack White.
This is old Jacky Jack saying, may the good Lord be kind to you. We're going to close out old Southern Fried today with Jay Burton leading us in a great song. Hit it, boy.
Some glad morning when this life is o'er, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away
in the morning
when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
Pick it, Manlin, boy.
Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy will never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. fly away
in the morning.
When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
WLYB FM, Livingston, York, Demopolis. W263CF, Meridian. Live and local. The Twin States, WLYB.
York Drug has a new phone number, and they are there when you need them. Put the number in your phone now. Ready? The new number is 205-725-8118. You never know when you're going to have a question about a prescription or over-the-counter medication, or if your order's ready. Eddie and the staff are ready to answer your questions. Put the new number in your phone or write it down for York Drug when you need it. The new number is 205-725-8118. That's 205-725-8118. York Drug also has new store hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And a new phone number, 205-725-8118. 205-725-8118. Always one call away. York Drug.
WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Shirley, it's your one-year review.
I'm Doris, and it's my 5-year review.
Right, so profits are down.
Dave, you just got a huge bonus.
Says who?
You, in an email to the whole company twice.
Look, it's not about me, it's about you. How are you doing?
Fine.
Great, I think we're done here, Dennis. Next!
Don't work for a Dave. Find a boss you can respect, one who's looking for great and local talent at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Dave
has joined the conference.
Couple of important things to go over today. First, someone parked in my space again. But don't worry, I've had you towed and you're fired. Oh, also, we posted record profits and I got a nice bonus. But sadly, nothing left for you guys. Okay, gotta go.
Don't work for a Dave. Find a boss you can respect, one who's looking for great and local talent at WestAlabamaHelp